What's happening, Mac?
What's going on, sir?
Dude, loving life, staying happy. That is it. How about you? You're Mr. Positive, I feel like. Or is that just for show?
No, I am kind of. I think the only person more positive than me is my wife. She always finds the good in everything, dude. I can't.
You guys are gross. People come over the house and they're like, Jesus Christ, can you guys bitch about somebody? You're like, no, we can't do it. We love everybody.
Yeah, we're not doing it.
That's awesome, man. Brom, you all right? How you doing? Stressed?
The dream.
Uh-oh. That's the one way to say the gun jammed this morning.
No, my family's healthy, so I mean, it's all up from here.
That's it. This one guy, Christian, whenever he joins any of my meetings or whatever, there's like 15 note takers for Christian to join. I'm like, all right, take it the fuck easy. All right, cool. Schmidt, what up?
Doing miserable.
Oh, yes, dude. Thank you. Let's go. Life sucks. Oh my God. I don't know who this comedian, whenever I keep thinking of him though. I love suicide jokes. I hope nothing's been, you guys have never been impacted by that, but they're my favorite. And he's always like, just like doing more crazy intros. How you doing, man? Yeah, the gun jam, freaking ceiling fan can't hold 200 pounds. So I'm here. Anyways, these are terrible jokes, but they're my favorite.
Terrible.
Death jokes are my favorite joke. All right, cool. Let's ride. Amber, what do you sell again, by the way?
I work for On the Clock, so time tracking.
Time tracking. It's on its way up. Let me pull up today. Okay, cool. Today we're going to talk about status. Let me close my door. My wife, I can tell, can hear me, and that always pisses her off. Okay. When you're in a situation, any situation that you're in, there are two ways people are judging. The first is how similar are we? And the second is how much better are you than me? So how similar are we? We've talked about a few different times where I'm like, you want to be able to talk about a deep cut. Deep cuts are information that only somebody would learn once they've been exposed to a topic for a long period of time. So I'm going to give a weird man one. So I was just thinking about it this morning for whatever reason, but I'll say it. So a deep cut of, let's say you were like an alien and you were like, hey, I'm trying to sell nuclear weapons to humanity. And so you're talking to some dude and you're trying to let the dude know that you understand what it's like to be. So he's like, hey man, I get it. I totally understand what it's like being a man. You know, you're busy all the time. And you're trying to always make sure that you're getting work done. It's like, yeah, yes. But like anybody can know that. You don't know much about manness if that's all you know, if that's something that you think is something I know. Where if instead he was like this alien, he or she or they, I guess is an alien, right? They go, hey, I totally get what it's like being a man, you know? It's like sometimes you just want to see if your pee can match, if you can race your pee to when the toilet flushes. I'd be like, first of all, how the fuck do you know I do that every once? That's fucking crazy. But the reality is it's like, that is something that you would only know if you like truly were a dude, or if you're like, I've been around dudes for so long that I've got to, chapter 4,000, which is every once in a while when they pee, they flush and see if they can pee and flush at the exact same time. It's a unique thing. So that is that deep cut that I'm talking about. This lets them know, are you similar to me? Do you understand me? Okay. I never get enough laughs from that one, and I feel like it's my best show. So thank you, Amber. Because you smiled and everyone else is like, this guy's a fucking weirdo. I don't want anybody to know that I do that. You all do it. Don't fucking lie to me.
I always work with a bunch of guys, so I feel like I'm that alien.
You should say that. Like,
much.
Every next time they come out of the bathroom, be like, were you trying to race your pee to match the
like I could tell by the look on your face.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. So that's that side of it. Andre, what's up? What I'm talking about here is when you're meeting someone, they are judging how similar are you and then how much better are you than them. Okay. And of course, if you're a threat, but that's like mammal bullshit. So the next thing is the status. So what we're trying to figure out is like, how do we approach this person? How do we connect with this person? As humans, we're always trying to connect with other humans. And that's why like sometimes when you're with someone, it just clicks. Other times it doesn't. We all want it to click. This is connection. So how do we do that? Sorry, this is status. So how do we show our status? The number one way to show your status is in your speed. The number two way is in your mindset of abundance. So let's talk about speed for a second. So if you want to seen as having, yeah, that's true too, right? If you want to be seen as somebody who has higher status, therefore like is more confident, and the assumption is if you're confident, there's something behind that status. What that means is that person is likely going to walk slower into the room. Truly, if you want to make a change to this, the fastest way to do this is just to say whatever the other person is doing, be slower. So if they're opening the door like this, you should be moving like that. Whatever they're doing, just go a little bit slower. Okay. Of course, in your rate of speech and all that stuff as well, but even in your physical nonverbal, even the opening. I'm talking. I see you, Bram, and so I'm thinking about doors and Tom, but like in the how far you step back when the person opens a door, the shuffle that you probably take because you're a little bit nervous, there's a little bit of nervous energy. Those things, if you can make them slower, will go better. Mike, how do I do that? I have nervous energy though. Yeah, so do I, man. We all do. So I'll give you 2 tricks here on nervous energy. So the first one is channel somebody specific. So if you're walking up to the house and you're channeling, you're just being yourself. That works if you are high status, if you do have tons of confidence. If you don't have that yet in whatever situation you're in, like I feel great talking to my buddies. And then if I'm around a bunch of people that are really tall, I feel really stupid because I'm shorter. I'm 5'7". So I find myself having to like think about that, my confidence and how I'm moving around, because I'm feeling that sense of lack of confidence. So if you're in a situation, you can channel somebody specifically, meaning before you walk up to the door, before you get on the call, before the Zoom starts, you're thinking about, okay, like I how would I act if I were my uncle? There's a cousin of mine who I'm like, he's the fucking man. And so when I'm nervous, I try to pretend that I'm him. It's a little bit easier than just the more you know the person and the more it is a person, that's easier than just like, be confident, stand tall, do that. It's like you don't connect to that, but it's easier to just like mimic a person. And then you start to get confidence because it works. The second way that you can do this is you make things muscle memory. So instead of having to think in the moment, okay, oh shoot, you're getting nervous, do this, do that. You're just like, you think ahead of time, hey, when I'm nervous, I find myself shuffling. When I'm nervous, I speak faster. I move my shoulders. Like this is shit I do. And so you can prepare ahead of time of like, I want to create a move that I do every time that allows me to stay calm. So when I was taking a lot of calls, old school calls, like Polycom, remember there's like these fucking old school speakerphones that you have in these offices. You were talking about, Dre. Yeah. And I would find I was always like this, like leaned into the thing. And then I was like, nope. And moving forward, what I did for like years was I would lean back and I'd literally put my feet on the desk. And that gave me like it was a movement and it made me feel more confident. But this could be, like opening the door. Like I always shift to my right foot. Maybe that's what it is. Last thing I'll give you actually on controlling that nervous energy is get the energy out where they can't see it. So I remember when I was living in New York, we were visiting clients all the time, and I was not the best rep. But then I was managing a team that I was not the best rep on. Very, very. And then I was going and visiting clients with reps that were better than me, but I was like the boss. It's very, very uncomfortable. And you're like in New York, and you're sweating now, and it's fucking crazy. But so what I would do is when I would sit in those conference rooms, I would be flexing my calves and curling my toes, so that I was like, I'm in control. Mike, you're good. You don't have to like. You're a duck. And you're getting all of your energy out, so you don't have to panic up here. Just another thing I would recommend to get that nervous energy. Okay. So the first thing we're talking about here is slowness, speed. That is the first indicator. The second indicator is mindset of abundance. So when you're in a mindset of scarcity, this is when you will overpromise. You'll be a little more pushy. There's a little bit more riding on it. So you're a little bit more desperate sounding. The mindset of abundance is where you're like, I know I'm going to knock another door. It's going to be fine. I know I'm going to play my cards right. And even if this one doesn't work out, it's all good. I got more in mind. Or I know if I was like an idiot, it's not that big a fucking deal. Like I'm not an idiot. So it's not that big of a deal. So again, prep. So if I'm going somewhere and I know that I'm going to feel nervous there for some reason, I might, as I'm like rolling up, just remind myself about like how some things I've accomplished, but more importantly, feeling I know we're getting real touchy feely here, but I try to think about 2 or 3 things I'm grateful for. Though when you ground into 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for, it reminds you that no matter how this call goes, like saying no matter how this call goes, everything's gonna be fine, doesn't really connect. But if you're like, I'm so grateful for like awesome kids that are super healthy, and like I love my car so much, and I'm grateful for that. Even I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for the weather we have right now. Then it reminds you as you're walking up, like you can't. None of this is going to impact any of that. So now I've built a sense of abundance, not in terms of my sales numbers, not in terms of number of doors, not in terms of number of calls, not in terms of my percent of quota, but I built it in terms of my sense of who I am. I'm fine. So I'd recommend that you prep that ahead of time of like a couple things you're grateful for before you jump into call. If you manage people, and you can do this for yourself too, but if you manage people in particular, what I like to do to help with the mindset of abundance is showing wins in a variety of places. What we do as humans, just like the news, we focus on the negatives. So even when things are going right, we're like, we're the fucking worst. Maybe that's just me. But so as a manager, what you want to do is, and like Brum, this is one of the reasons why I have like 7 things on like the leaderboard that I built for you guys, is you want to be able to say like, no, you're not winning for revenue, jobs, average deal size, win rate, but you are winning for leads created. You're the fucking leads created guy. So if you feel like you're not winning anywhere, it's really challenging for you to feel like you are a winner. The gratefulness can significantly help with it. If you can instead be like, dude, I'm the fucking crushing at activity. I'm the best at this. I'm number 2 at this. I just beat this guy at this KPI. These are things that allow you to make it easier for you to feel like you're winning. All right, last thing I'll give here, and again, this is on this mindset of abundance, but it's a nonverbal. If you have $1 billion and you go to the restaurant, you know you're going to give a fucking baller ass tip, unless you're a piece of shit. But it's like you have a Hollywood tip that you probably give out because you're like, it means nothing. Like I'm happy to give it out. I'm just here to give. Okay. So as a person who loves themselves, if you know anybody, let me know. I haven't met my guy in the mirror, doesn't love me too much, but as a person who loves himself in theory, if you love yourself, think about that same dollar amount. If I have $1 billion of love, I'd be giving it out. Okay. So here's what I want you to do in the nonverbal. It makes a big difference. When you look at people, and they're talking in particular though, but when you're looking at people, I want you to think, I love this person so much. Like if you were in love with them, when you can look at them and you can actually just think like, say the words in your mind, like, I love you so much. It makes it hard. You will find your face literally just kind of like softening up and leaning in a little bit more. Like it makes a big difference. I don't know if you guys see the same like actor videos I see on Instagram or whatever too, where they're like telling actors to do certain things, but you can see it in the way your eyes look. That's that engaging thing. So now when someone is meeting you, they're like, this guy is a giver. He must have so much to give. This guy is very slow. He must have no reason to be in a rush. And this guy knows so much about my world. I trust him. That general feeling of, I just kind of feel good around this guy or whatever is not, they knew the ROI numbers. They were super fast with all the info I needed. They responded quickly. It's not. It's in this. And I would imagine if you even took a few minutes to think about people in your life that you tend to just like kind of vibe with, it's because I think that they seem to actually truly care. They know a lot about you, and they don't make it too nervous. So you feel like you can be yourself. You guys cool? Even though I'm going real touchy-feely today on this? All right, sweet.
I really like it. I never really heard it described in that way. I was like, wow, that I could see myself actually using. I see in previous sales or previous times I talked to people, I could see how it really change things up.
Dude, thanks so much for the shout. You're making me feel wonderful. So I appreciate it. All right, cool. So the rest of this stuff we're going to talk about all comes from a mindset of abundance as well. But what we're doing here is I'm just going to be leaning in on the actions. Like, what is the thing I do that makes it seem as though I'm coming from a place of abundance, even if I fucking hate myself. Okay. Great. One is clarity. Break things down. We've talked actually a lot about this, so I'll just be quick, into either frameworks or numbers. So when you say like, how are things going? And you're like this and that and this and that, blah, 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 blah. You're kind of all over the place. This guy doesn't have a chill mind that has the space to sort of play with his thoughts and clarify like what's happening. He's all over the place. So if instead it's like, hey, what's going on? You're like, man, there's two things that are good and one thing that's bad. Sun's out, family's healthy, and I haven't gotten a sale yet today. Okay. I'm not saying that that's what to say, but if you can clarify things into 1 to 2 maybe 3 buckets. It makes you so much clearer, which makes you seem like you are higher status than me. Obama talks good or well, whatever, right? Higher status. So there's 3 things that we do. You know what? Answering that question, that's a great question. There's 2 ways that I want to answer that. Well, when I think about customers, I put them into like 2 different buckets. That indicates a high level of knowledge, all of that stuff. So try to put things in new buckets or frameworks. All right. The next thing I have here is pretending that the customer and you are the same. So I don't want to say, hey, something you may not know about how things work, or like, I know you're not really used to this stuff, but here's how it works. Hey, listen, you and I both know. You and I both know that X, Y, or Z is true. If they don't know that, they feel complimented, and they also feel an identity shift by them agreeing to this, that maybe they are the kind of person who should understand that. But it's typically like pulls you up a little bit. If I was like, hey, you guys all know that Thursdays are Taco Thursday. You're like, fuck, I don't know that shit. Mike must be better than me. Mike must know more than me. He knows something I don't know. Fuck. Now I feel like I'm pretending. I'm pretending to know. Shit. Now I gotta like be cool for Mike. You know what I mean? So if you're like, hey, you and I both know that insurance rates are not, mortgage rates are not going to be going down the next 3 months. But when the Fed comes out with the new thing they're coming out with next month, we are going to see a shift. That's very different from, hey, one thing you may not know is actually. So you and I both know. Pull someone up, makes them feel lower status in a lot of ways. Cool. Next thing is direct, honest. Where am I at? Direct, honest. That's it. Direct and honest. I don't know why I'm looking at my notes. I'm like, it's direct and honest. So if someone says like, yeah, we really want to make sure we're getting X. X is really important to us. And you're like, fuck, we don't do that. Or we're not the best really at. What a person of abundance who's like, whatever, I can lose this customer, no sweat. I got more coming, would say like, okay, cool. Like we're actually not the right fit if that's going to be the case, because we're not the best for that. We would recommend you to go with somebody else. What's interesting about this is when you say this, it's a weird thing, man. Human stuff. But when you say like, hey, like we're not the right fit, or like, okay, cool, like, well, we wouldn't be the best because we're not the best at that. The way it actually comes across in a lot of ways to people is 2 things. One, yes, very honest, cool. This guy's like direct. He's obviously not. If he's going to be honest about the fact they can't do this, then later when he says he can do X, I can trust that he actually can. But the other is it makes you feel like you're pulling something away from them, and so they then want it. So when I go like, yeah, I'm not the best person for that. I don't know if I'm the right fit for you guys then, because if we don't do that, you're basically saying like, hey, I'm going to take away me as an option. And they're like, well, wait a second, hold on. Before you do that, can we double check? Will be the general sentiment. Now, it doesn't work that way perfectly, right? That's not none of these things are like binary. Now they love you and they want to like marry you. But this will get them to be like, oh shit, wait, well, let me kind of lean in. Well, what about, do you guys do this? Yeah, we do that. Okay, well, let's keep the conversation going. You sure? Because I'm not sure we're the best fit. No, we'll go. Now they're pulling you in. But if you're like, yeah, we could kind of do, yeah, well, it's interesting. What we don't actually do it the way that you're saying it. We actually do it this other way. That is not a mindset of abundance. That is a mindset of like, I'm kind of scared you're running away, but before you do, can you just know that I have the shitty way to do it? And whatever I say is probably not as good as you're looking for, but I'm really hoping that you're going to like it. Versus, yeah, we actually don't do it that way. So if you're looking for that, we're not really the best fit. There is a way that we do it. Do you want to hear how we do it? Okay, cool. Yeah, here's how we do it. I'm not sure if we're the right fit now based on that. No, you totally could be. All right, great. Let's keep talking. Again, imagine how trustworthy you are then at the end when you go like, dude, we have the best version of that. They're like, I believe you. Cool. All right. Tone. To be liked, we smile and we show like palm of our hand or all that shit. That's like whatever, human nature to get people to trust us and whatever. So when we're nervous that you may not like us, you may think we are a threat, we over exaggerate those motions. So we'll be like, hey, it's so good. It's Mike. I'm here. I hope this is all right. Or like, Tom, it's awesome that we're on the call. That's great. How are you, by the way? Oh my God, that's amazing. And all these, what this is communicating, what we're trying to do is we're trying to say, fuck, I don't know if you're going to like me. Let me do a bunch of things that will get you to like me. What that communicates is this guy doesn't think I like him. And he's nervous that if I don't like him, he's not as valuable. Therefore, he must be lower status. So what you want to do instead is what I'll say, a simple way to remember this is don't smile for the first 30 days. and this is probably not the best analogy, but I use it because it was used for me. So I was going to be an English teacher in South Korea. And they were like, don't smile to kids, like elementary school kids. And they were like, don't smile for the first 30 days. And I was like, what the fuck? And they're like, the second that the kids see that you are someone who cares about like making them laugh and happy and joy, then it's impossible to reel them back into like, I need you to work hard and do what I tell you to do. But basically what they were saying is like, if you show that your status is lower, you care about their happiness and you're nervous that you won't get it, then they know they can walk all over you because you have low status and you can't gain it back. So the other half of the analogy really is you can always become friendly, but you can't, it's very challenging to become more authoritative. It's easy. We've all actually loved that coach we probably had who we were scared of and was kind of a fucking prick. And then one day that they said something nice to us, we're like, I don't know, I kind of fucking like him, man. He's all right. But the one who's like super friendly and shit, and then they're like, get on the line, run. You're like, dude, fuck you, dude. Same thing is happening here in real life. So you could come up and be like, hey, Tom, or hey, Mr. Customer, how you doing today? Great. That's awesome. Oh, is that a Labradoodle? That's awesome. So I'm starting even, and I can move to friendly, but it's challenging to go the other way around. Exactly. Also, if you have not seen Shogun on Hulu, yeah, you should be hanging up and going to watch that. Don't read the books. It's fucking impossible to read. But the TV show is so good. All right, cool. Simple one here on tone. I've talked about it 100 times. Is the pause down pause, but I'm going to bring it up and I'll simplify it to just be like end on a down tone. So like, hey, I'm here for a reason. I want to talk to you about your roof. Glad we have time today. There's something. There's a couple things we're going to go over. Every time you end on a down tone, it indicates like I'm in control. I don't need you to. I'm comfortable with my song ending and your song beginning. I don't feel a need to connect us because I already have enough connections. I'm cool. If this goes uncomfortable, that's fine. With everything, there's of course a balance if you're a fucking dick, right? But just try to end on a down tone. And if you can pause, tactic you can use to this, I'll steal this from one of the guys on the Tom's team or Matt. I forget who it was that did this. Maybe it was Kirby, where someone was like nervous about, I got to get all my shit out. Like, you know, they think I'm just giving them this pitch and it's taking forever. Is the manager of the team was like, was like, you have 45 seconds to say what you need to say. Ready? Go. And the rep was like, blah, 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 and then you still have like 20 seconds. So I say this to say if you can have them practice the feeling of pause, like, you say sentence, I'll say sentence. You say sentence, I'll say sentence. Let's just do that. Like, remember the game Questions? You played Kings in college when you were drinking, and you had to you could only speak in questions. Maybe not. Maybe I'm like old and weird, but it was a thing. It was like if you pulled the cue, you had to everybody had. So I'd be like, "How are you?" They'd be like, "Do you think you're having a good time?" And if someone was like, "Yes, I am," you're like, "Oh, you have to drink." So you could play that exact same game, but it just was statements. And so have them practice not going up. It's going to be fine. Okay. All right. Last way, and I'll let us jump, is do not let things go unaddressed. If we all know happy ears, unaddressed, I got to come up with a better name for this. Unaddressed is the opposite of that. So happy ears, the person's like, this is great. Yeah, let's get going. Happy ears is like, sick. I'll be by tomorrow for a signature or whatever it is. On the other one is, if you're not afraid of losing something, you'll dig for pain. Listen, don't you think you want to get your boss involved? Or isn't your wife going to want to take a peek at this? Or well, if this doesn't work out, what are the most likely reasons? Or are there anybody else that's going to want to put their 2 cents on this? Or when you bring this to your boss, you think they're really going to give a shit about this makes your life easier? So actually ask those questions to unearth things versus allowing and again, that indicates to the person, this guy's got balls. This guy knows it's okay if I answer these questions and we don't buy from him because he's got a mindset of abundance. Cool. Status, abundance, channel shit, USA. Guys, thanks for your time. Love you all, as you know now. See you.
Thanks.